So just to recap quickly, we were just saying capitalism is not really working for the young people at the moment.
Not at all.
Because we can't get capital, which is what capitalism is about. So that means the problem has to be fixed, and it's going to have to come from the top level, i.e. government. And what we were just saying is that there's an approach that economists have been talking about, which is helicopter money.
Correct.
Which is essentially just giving people money and saying, go use it to pay off your debt or use it to get yourself in a property like that or get yourself some capital. You say it's unlikely that's going to work. But the next thing another scenario I wanted to bring up was the fact that, and which is why I see why Corbyn is so popular, is the fact that in any economy, usually there's three spenders. There's us everyday people, and we are called consumers. Then there are companies, which spend on like factories and making new products and stuff like that for us to buy. And then there's government, who spend to either like build infrastructure like airports, roads, railway stations.
They're the biggest spenders in the economy.
They're the biggest spender anywhere in any economy usually. And then they also spend on like benefits. Mm-hmm. Right now, we've already talked about the fact that we're maxed out. So me and you and 18s to 34s are pretty much maxed out in debt. We've either got student loans and credit card bills because of how things have been going. Companies, they ain't going to spend if people don't have money to come and buy stuff.
Yeah, it's pointless. It's
exactly.
Money.
Exactly. So they're not going to build new factories. They're not going to make new products, or even give you a pay rise, which is what's been happening a lot. So that leaves the third person, which is the government. Now, under the Conservatives, they've not been willing to spend money because they're already in debt themselves.
Yep. Right.
So they're on a deficit. So deficit is the difference between what they get in tax and what they spend in welfare and all that kind of stuff. So, but the thing is that a government, at the end of the day, what they stand for, who they represent, are 60 million taxpayers. So even though they're already in debt, it's not as bad for them if they get further in debt. At least in the short term, depending on how you see it. This is
the conundrum where Corbyn. I see where you're coming from.
Exactly. So it's not as bad if they spend money, because if they spend money now, let's say they go out there, they say they're gonna like spend, I don't know, 100 to 500 billion. I'm just putting it out there. They build roads, they build schools, they build hospitals, housing, all that kind of stuff. That creates jobs. Jobs means income. Income means people start spending money. People spending money means actually firms start looking at it and saying, right, we can start making more stuff, building new factories, hiring more people. That makes more income.
And then you can service the debt, etc.
And it's like a cycle. So like the government starts earning more money in tax as well. So I kind of see why the argument is there for it, but I just wanted to get your thoughts and say...
Yeah, so those catch-22 ones. Yeah. Because what you're saying, in an ideal world, works, but the thing about, if you're going to keep borrowing money, where do you keep getting this money from? So the governments get this money on the international markets through the Bank of England, etc. So if investors that are buying, so how they finance the borrowing is through issuing government bonds. So basically it's like IOU. So they will say, you lend me, in the simplest terms, £100, I'll pay you back £105 in a year's time. But if investors, both internationally and private investors, because me and you can go and buy government bonds if we wanted to, if we perceive that the government's been borrowing too much and can't pay this back, then there's something called the credit ratings. So just like how me and you have a credit rating, governments also have credit ratings as well.
Right, okay.
So they get rated in terms of how, just like how we are, how suitable they are to pay back these funds and to keep borrowing these funds. So, but if it gets to a point where they're borrowing so much that the credit rating starts falling, then they're less likely to get money in the long run, because
it's going to cost them more as well.
Because yes, so then
the credit rating falls.
Correct. So if their credit rating's falling, just like me and you, if our credit rating falls, the bank might still lend to us, but they'll say, I'm going to charge you a higher interest rate then. Yeah. So that works for the same for the government. So if they want to then issue these bonds, they'll be charged a higher interest rate.
Well, how likely is that, given the fact that interest rates are so low at the moment as well?
Yeah, that's. I think. Yeah,
and the way the world looks as well at the moment.
I think that's where the argument, because it looks like somewhere like America, how heavily indebted they are, trillions.
Yeah, they have like 20 trillion.
Yes,
1920,
and they're still going. So, as you said,
I love them guys.
But yeah, it's like you said, how realistic is it that that's going to happen? But then on the flip side, you've had places like Argentina,
I know.
who've had to default meaning like they couldn't pay back their debts, so their debts had to get rid. So it is a catch-22. It's like, on one hand, really, would the UK go bankrupt? Probably not.
No,
But I guess in terms of from a conservative standpoint, because they're the ones in power at the moment, they're saying that is a possibility that could happen. So that's where they've gone on this austerity
for the last how many
years, because they're saying, just like as in our households, if we're spending too much, it gets to a point where we have to then get our own house in order and start paying off debts. And so the government are saying, basically they're treating the government
like a person.
So there's different school of thoughts saying there's no right or wrong answer. It's just it depends on where you are on the spectrum.
Yeah.
If you're in the younger generation, you're like spend. But if you're on the older side of the spectrum, you're like, no, we need to come back. We need to cut.
You're saying that because you've already got your houses.
Exactly. That's what I said. There's no.
I can't even buy a lemonade.
But it's what you said at the beginning, though, in terms of the government. It's essentially servicing these 60 million people. So it's like, I'm not defending them. I'm just saying in terms of difficulties and playing devil's advocate to what you're saying is they have to take that into consideration. So it's, as I said, it's the old catch-22 really. Do you or do you not? Cool. We'll leave it there. I don't think we'll ever get a right answer to that one. Yeah, let's leave it at that one.